My name is Ariane. I'm a compulsive overeater and bulimic. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the gray sheet, write them down, call them into my sponsor. I don't eat in between my meals, no matter what. Abstinence is the most important part of my life. Thank you, God. Thank you, Gray Sheet. I am abstinent today. And it's really because of this fellowship that I am abstinent. Thank you, Steph, Victor, Fenwa, Kim, for booking me. And thank you all for being here today. I've been doing a lot of service on Saturdays. It's been my Saturday service day. I co-host the Syosset meeting at 6:30 Pacific, and then I'm leading the 4:30 meeting tonight. And I was scared about doing service again, and I overload myself quite a bit. But I have to be a part of this fellowship. I've had many, many day ones. I've relapsed multiple times. And every relapse has given me the ability to see where I went wrong. And I have to learn from those relapses instead of dwelling in them. My big one, I had 2.5 years. And my partner and I broke up. And my parents were away at the time, like they are right now. And I was so lonely and so detached from my family. And my sister-in-law asked me if I wanted to come out to the Santa Claus parade, and they had a buffet. And I got a case of the Evans. And I just wanted to feel connected. I really wanted some connection with people I could touch and hug and talk to unfettered by a phone or a computer or mute button or. And I did. I ate, I had a friend over, and that night I was like, what am I doing? Because the gates of hell clanged shut, and I was struggling to get back for 5 months. I think I had like up to 21 days at that point, and I would just pick up. And I didn't feel connected. I got to tell you, after those two situations, the Santa Claus parade and having my friend over, that was it. And everything else was all about the food. My obsession returned immediately. I picked up something that was on the gray sheet in between my meals. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm just gonna take it easy. I'll just eat when I want to. And that's not real. Every time I pick up, my relapses get more and more vicious. I eat like an animal. I eat against my will. I'm eating garbage, basically garbage. It's the stale food at the back of the cupboards that the kids won't touch anymore. And I know that they won't miss it. I'll go up into my parents' house and start stealing their food, looking around, finding what's good, what would satisfy that itch. And it never does. It satisfies it for a second, and then I can't even taste it anymore. And I'm off to the next thing. And I have to remember, or I am doomed to repeat. Yesterday was a difficult day. I've had a lot of no matter what's in abstinence, where I've been abstinent, where my ex-husband passed away and my two kids were devastated. And my partner and I really struggled at that point. He had lost his father. And so he was already feeling grief. And then on top of it, I had to, bring the kids back into my home exclusively and take them to the funeral, go through their grief together. Because my oldest just, he was a saint, and dad did this and dad did that. And dad was not perfect. He wasn't imperfect. He was exactly who he needed to be, but he was not perfect. And it was such a struggle. And I stayed abstinent through that. I stayed abstinent through putting my cat down from 15 years, actually, my ex-husband's cat, after he passed. My child had his birthday a couple years ago, and he told me that he was molested right after his dad passed by someone that his stepmom had left him in his care of. And I've spoken to the police. I've been to multiple meetings. We're going to court in a few months, and I stayed abstinent. You know, it wasn't that stuff. My my kid wanted to kill himself, constantly talking about suicide all summer. It was so hard. I wanted to die, but I didn't want to pick up the food. But yesterday, it was just quiet. I'm bored. You know, I switched jobs and now I'm bored. I'm apathetic. I'm not excited, you know, and that's the times that I start thinking that I need some excitement and I need a dopamine hit. And what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to go to the food. So I try calling people, and some people don't answer. I leave messages. You know, I tried to go out for a walk multiple times and the dog kept disappearing. I was like, where are you? I want to go for a walk. Um, and I got through it. You know, I talked to another GreySheeter, and she said, you know, what is it that she said? She said, do you want me to give you advice? I said, no, I don't want advice. I just need to vent this. And I said, because I know that feelings are like farts, like passing gas. They pass, you know? And I loved that. Um, there was a win the other day. You know, I'm taking care of myself. I remember one of our members used to say that it was the most loving thing he can do for himself is to stay abstinent. And it truly is, because then when I'm taking care of myself, I'm putting boundaries around my food. The 4.0 is 4.0, you know, 8.0 is 8.0. I can actually take care of myself. On Halloween, I got home, I wasn't feeling great, and I said no to going out across town. We went somewhere else instead. Took the kids out for dinner. They had you know, their dinner. I just sat there and, you know, enjoyed their company and talked to them. And then we went out trick-or-treating. It was an hour. The rain stopped for a whole hour here in Victoria. And and it was great. They had a great time. And I took care of myself. I got to eat my abstinent dinner in my living room in front of the TV, as happy as all get out. And my meals make me happy because they're guilt free. So I don't have to pick up. I just have to live with feelings. Like, how crazy is that? I have never felt a feeling properly and fully until I came into GreySheet and I stopped stuffing all those feelings down. And, you know, in the past, when a big feeling would come up or a not so big feeling would come up, an underlying niggling feeling would come up, I would eat. I recently relapsed. I mean, like I've had 5 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 21 days, 90 days, all over the place in the last 6 years. And last time, well, not last time, but the time before, my brother had, you know, instigated a party at our house and then didn't come. And I was so angry, and all I could think, like my brain was screaming at me to eat, that was the only thing that was going to make me feel better. And I was making calls and talking about it, but I was talking about I wanted to eat. I wanted to eat. I wanted to, and I just kept reinforcing that in my head. And so I picked up. But now, you know, when I call people, I tell them about what I'm feeling. You know, I'm not focused on the food as much as I am what I am feeling, because I have to learn what I feel so I can identify it, feel it, and let it go. And I keep my eyes on my own plate today. You know, there were many times I would get resentment in GreySheet because I would see somebody drinking something or talking about something, or, you know, my sponsor lets me do this, or my sponsor lets me do that. And I get resentful. And then I would like binge at them, you know, it's crazy. I have an obsession of the mind and an allergy of the body. That is my truth. I don't know if I am allergic in the antihistamine way.
5 minutes.
Thanks, Safenwa. But I do know that once I put anything that is not weighed and measured, committed to my sponsor, period, in my mouth, I am off to the races. I was, I'm the youngest child of three. Um, I've never gone to university. I was a drug addict for 7 years, a severe alcoholic and drug addict for another 7 years. And I was a fat crack addict, crack, meth, crystal meth, all of the things. And it was all about my weight. It was always about my weight. And when I got hooked, then it was hell trying to get off again. And when I came into the mothership program, I got some clarity. And 2 years after that, I decided that I was going to lose weight. Like I was done. I had a selfie. I was like, what am I doing? Couldn't I just do something? So I started walking and counting calories, and it was fine at first. It went on for about, 5 months. I was losing a lot of weight. And people were saying, oh, you look great. And I didn't have a program to support me. And once I got to a certain weight, I all of a sudden, like a switch flipped in my head where I could not go down below that weight, or I couldn't go up above that weight. And so I would exercise bulimically. And then I started purging. And I remember my kid saw me one time, walked in on me in the bathroom. And I think he was like, God, five, probably. And and I told him not to tell anybody, and I locked the door. And that's how much this disease has taken me into my own head, into my own hell. Last My last day one, I had some frozen things like anyways, dessert things. And I had been eating all night. I went to bed. I was in pain. My back hurt. My jaw gets really swollen when I eat sugars, grains, carbohydrates. My jaw gets really swollen. I get a lot of aches. I get a lot of tingling. I get a lot of heat in my body. So I can't sleep properly. And I had to go to work the next day. So I got up, and what did I do? I pulled out the frozen things and ate them all. And then I called my sponsor. I had one of the most horrific gut headaches, the whole 9 yards were going off. And I realized that I had eaten like I drank. When I drank and the doctor said, you have to come to the hospital now, I went home and I finished my 2-6. When I was eating and I knew I had to call my sponsor, I went and finished everything. Like, and that's not something I used to do. I used to throw it away. I used to mush it with the compost or something like that. But as I get older, my disease progresses. It's doing push-ups out in the parking lot constantly. And it is right here next to me. And I know that it does not take anything for me to pick up. It just takes one thing and the lack of a pause in between that I will pick up. And so I have to keep it green constantly because like my head likes to tell me that, oh,
one
you'll be
minute
able to have, thank you, you'll be able to have some excitement or something. But no, there's no excitement in the food. All there is misery. And I get my excitement from making my phone calls and talking to you guys. And yesterday, I went on a meeting, and all of a sudden I felt better. Did it fix me? No, it didn't fix me, but it made me feel a lot better. And that's my medicine, is you all, this program, weighing and measuring my food, keeping it in the day, and remembering. I just have to remember the hell of compulsive eating. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for letting me share. I was so nervous. It's been a long time since I've been at this meeting, and I'm just really grateful to see everybody this morning. And thank you for letting me share. I'll pass.